My 7-year-old son went missing during recess and the police called. I frantically called my wife for support, but she said, "Figure it out yourself." When I arrived to see police interviewing teachers, they warned me before playing the security footage. The call came just past noon. The school secretary's voice trembled as she spoke, words clipped, deliberate. "Your son, he's missing. The police are here." My hand locked around the phone. A pressure I couldn't name crushed my chest. I dialed my wife instantly, my fingers shaking, lungs raw with panic. She picked up on the second ring. "Daniel's gone," I whispered. "They said—" Her voice sliced through mine, sharp, detached. "Figure it out yourself." The line went dead. Silence. Only the sound of my own breath, shallow, violent, against the quiet room. I drove with tunnel vision. Every red light blurred past like an accusation. Every turn pulled tighter into the knot of my chest. By the time I reached the school, police cars crowded the curb. Teachers huddled in corners, voices low, glances shifting away from me. Inside, a detective approached. His tone was careful, rehearsed. "Sir, before you see the footage, I need you to brace yourself." He didn't need to say more. Something had already broken. When the screen flickered on, the world stopped moving, and I collapsed. What I saw wasn't a stranger. It wasn't a kidnapper. It was someone I knew. The footage replayed in slow, merciless loops. Daniel on the playground, his backpack bouncing against his shoulders, his small head turning when a woman called to him. Not just any woman, her. My wife. She walked toward him, not hurried, not desperate, just casual, like it was planned, like it was nothing. She took his hand. He followed without resistance, without fear. The timestamp burned into my eyes, 12:13 p.m. At that exact minute, she had been telling me to figure it out. I couldn't breathe. The teachers avoided my gaze. The detective watched me instead of the screen, as though waiting for an explosion. But there was none. Just silence wrapping around me, suffocating, calculated. I knew something had been wrong between us for months. Late nights, vanishing explanations, cold stares when I asked too much. But never, not once, did I imagine she would weaponize our son. Why? That question dug its claws into me, but I didn't ask aloud. I nodded when they asked if I recognized her. I said yes, voice steady, calm enough to disturb them. Inside, I was splitting open. Not grief, not yet. Something sharper. I didn't go home that night. Instead, I drove aimlessly until I ended up in the quiet of my office, staring at the blank wall until dawn. Questions circled like vultures. Was Daniel even mine? Was this her endgame, tearing me down piece by piece until I was nothing? I began to dig. Quietly, methodically. Phone records, bank statements, every shadow she thought she had hidden. Calls late at night to a single number. Withdrawals unaccounted for. A second phone tucked inside her glove compartment. The name tied to the number was familiar. A man she once called a family friend. Patterns emerged, undeniable, deliberate. Hotel receipts on the same nights she claimed to be working late. A deposit from his account into hers. And then, the final cut. A message buried deep in her cloud backup. A photo. My son, smiling, seated on the man's lap. The caption read, "Our boy looks more like you every day." Not my boy, ours. My vision blurred, but I didn't rage. I cataloged, documented, copied every file. A chess player moving pieces into position, waiting for the inevitable checkmate. She didn't know yet, not that I had seen, not that I had already begun pulling the ground out from under her feet. I kept my voice calm when she called, pretending nothing was wrong. Let her think she still owned the game. But inside, a storm was sharpening into something colder. The DNA results arrived in a plain envelope. White, innocent-looking. I already knew what it would say. But opening it still felt like swallowing glass. 0% probability. Daniel was not my son. I folded the paper once, slid it into my jacket pocket, drove home. She was in the kitchen, humming softly, as though her betrayal wasn't hanging in the air like smoke. She turned when she heard me, feigning warmth. "Long day?" I placed the envelope on the counter, said nothing, just watched her. Her hands trembled before she even opened it. The color drained from her face as her eyes scanned the words. "No, this can't." I leaned in close. My voice was steady, hollow. "Don't insult me with lies. I know everything." Her mask cracked then. Tears, shallow sobs, pleas of confusion, desperation. I felt nothing. Just the cold weight of truth pressing down on her shoulders. I didn't yell, didn't accuse. I simply laid out the evidence like blades on a table, one by one. Phone records, photos, bank transfers. Her face twisted with every piece. Shame, fear, collapse. I let the silence stretch between us until it cut deeper than words. Finally, I said, "He isn't mine. He never was. But you knew that." She broke then, knees buckling against the tile, her sobs echoing in the hollow kitchen. I crouched down, eyes level with hers, voice softer than a whisper. "The cruelest part is you thought I'd never find out, that you could keep me tethered to a lie forever. But now, you get to live with it." I stood, leaving her crumpled there, not touching her, not comforting, just letting the truth rot in the space she had created. I didn't need to scream. The silence was louder. I packed a single bag that night, walked out without looking back. Daniel, her son, was safe with her lover now, the man who had replaced me long before I knew I was gone. I felt no rage anymore, no grief, just clarity. She had wanted me broken. Instead, I left intact. Empty, yes, but free. The last sound I heard as I closed the door behind me was her voice, shattered, begging for forgiveness. I didn't answer. Some truths are not meant to be forgiven, and some betrayals are best left to die in silence. She stole my son, but I stole her peace, and that was enough.